Applications used to just talk to APIs. You make a request and you get a response. It is like ordering pizza. You say one large pepperoni, and the API gives you a large pepperoni. Everything's predictable and simple. But things are changing. Now, applications are starting to talk to large language models, LLMs. And this is not just a new topic on the old pizza, it is an entirely different menu. Because now their application is not just asking for a pizza, it is actually asking for an essay on the history of pizza written in the style of Shakespeare with a touch of Python code on the side. And that changes everything. With traditional APIs, we had it under control. We were able to manage that. We'd apply all of the usual policies, rate limiting, authentication checks, headers, tokens, and so on. Everything was clean and structured using JSON. It was easy to track and easy to filter. But when an application calls a large language model, like the OpenAI API, the request is no longer a neat packet. It is more like sending an idea into a black box and then hoping something clever to come out. And what comes out might be thousands of tokens. That is where your code lives, not in the number of requests, but in the size of the text that you send in and receive out. One person sending very long prompts all day could cost you more than 100 people just checking the weather. This is not just frustrating. That is expensive. Sure, you can still apply rate limiting, but that is only scratching the surface. A 100 token prompt and a 10,000 token prompt both look like one single request. Unless your gateway is smart enough to tell the difference. That is where semantic awareness comes into play. Let's sketch this out on the whiteboard. Okay, let's do some whiteboarding. So let's start with our applications. So we do have first an application and then our API. And the information is flowing on or forth. And this information is in the format of JSON, right? That JSON has a very particular structure. So we have fields, ID1, and then name, and so on, so on. Now, this can be multiple requests, one to many requests. And this is traditional API management where we can have certain policies like the logging, access control, and rate limits. Now, when we switch to the different kind of applications, let's think about a second kind of applications. So these new applications are now connecting to LLMs. And the information that is flowing here and there is usually just one single request, but the information that is coming here, it's based on blobs and blobs of text. So the information here, it's full of details on the structure of text, and it's just a couple of fields. So one of the requests could be, what is the capital of France? So this can be a very simple response, right? Paris. Paris is the capital of France. However, if we then apply just rate limit, this seems like a single way to handle this. But what if the question or the prompt that we are sending is explain the theory of relativity? The difference in between the both answers, it's gonna be really, really big in between just a few words or a word to the information that can come from here. And this is where we are facing the challenges if your gateway does not handle semantic capabilities correctly. Understanding exactly the message and the payload that it's coming with the gateway. And this is why it is important to have semantic awareness to be able to discern what's the difference in between these kind of connections that are not the same, even though under the traditional approach, it looks like it's just a connection, it's only a request. But the important is the content that we have here, the payload and the intention and the meaning of that payload. Okay, so now you're asking, how does it look like? Let's take a look using Insomnia. So I have two requests. The first one, we're going to call a regular API. And let's say the weather report. And we're going to set latitude and longitude and some other parameters to a traditional API. So let's call it. And we get a very clear, tidy, and easy to manage response. You can inspect the payload, you see what the user asked for, and you can set limits on what they can do or cannot do. And also, if there's a ton of data, you can start doing something like paging, because you already know what kind of information you're going to get. So, very simple. You can certainly manage with the traditional tools. Okay, now we can call the OpenAI API. So I have a simple request. Write me a detailed summary of War and Peace from the point of view of a raccoon. So let's call this. It definitely takes longer than the previous one. Let's take more time. And well, we get a long, beautiful block of raccoon literature. It is delightful, but also that one request might cost you more money than 100 weather requests. Because it is not about the number of requests anymore. It is about the weight of each one, how much meaning is inside. So, how do you control that? This is where semantic policies make a difference. Imagine you want to stop users from submitting prompts that include private information, maybe customer names, email addresses, or health details. A traditional API gateway does not know how to look for that. It just sees a long string of text. But a gateway with semantic awareness, it can look inside the payload and understand what is being said. It can recognize when a user is sending a personal data. It can flag prompts like summarize this medical report or analyze this list of customer emails. But this is not magic. This is a real-time payload inspection, natural language understanding, artificial intelligence inspecting artificial intelligence. It is like having a bouncer at the door who does not just check your ID. They actually listen to what you're saying and decide if you should be allowed inside based on your responses. Now we apply a semantic policy. Done. The gateway can now block prompts that contain personal data. It can log when someone asks a question that looks like it might involve copyright content. It can limit requests that are going to blow your budget. You're no longer just managing requests. You are managing meeting of those requests. And this is where the world is going. Everyone is there. More and more applications will rely on large language models. If your gateway only sees bytes, you are client blind. But if it understands what those bytes means, then you're back in the driver's seat. So, semantic awareness is not a bonus feature. It is the only way forward. And that is the idea that I wanted to share today. Thanks for listening. I'll have more videos coming soon, more demos, more thinking, more experiments. And if you care about APIs and artificial intelligence, stick around. Let's figure this out together.